I'm Steve Valk, Communications Director for Citizens Climate Lobby, and welcome to the first installment of our Media Tip of the Month. This month, we're going to look at meeting with your newspaper's editorial board. There's a lot of ground to cover on this topic, but for now, we'll focus on step one. How do you get a meeting with the editorial board? First of all, why do we want to meet with the editorial board or with the editorial page editor? The bottom line is that we want to generate editorial endorsements for our carbon fee and dividend proposal, because these endorsements can play a big role in influencing members of Congress to introduce and support our legislation. We have media packets that we send out from time to time to help generate these editorials. And the best way to make that pitch is to meet with the newspaper in person, either with the editorial board or with the editorial page editor. The biggest challenge you're going to have is getting the meeting. How do you do that? You'll want to find out who the editorial page editor is and write to them asking for a meeting. You can usually find that information through the newspaper's Contact Us page. But before you send off your request, there's something else you can do that will dramatically improve your chances of getting the response you're hoping for. What you need to do is read the newspaper every day, especially the opinion page, and look for what I would call an editorial board meeting opportunity. What do I mean by that? Well, to get letters to the editor published, we look in the newspaper for LTE opportunities, articles or opinion pieces that have a connection to climate change, because we know that newspapers typically only run letters responding to what's in the paper. In the same way, we can read the paper every day to find editorials, op-eds, perhaps front page stories that provide an opening to engage the opinion editor. Editorials, of course, provide the best opportunity. You're much more likely to get a response from the editor if you write to them about something they've written. Let's look at an example. So, the Florida Times-Union had an editorial fairly recently about climate change. The headline on it is, Florida is ground zero for impacts of sea level rise. So the Florida Times-Union is in Jacksonville. And let me just share a little excerpt from that editorial. NOAA predicts sea levels could rise as much as 3 feet in Miami by 2060. Forget politics or ideology. This is risk management. And it's big for Florida's economy and quality of life. By the end of the century, according to Zillow, about 934,000 Florida properties worth more than $400 billion could be submerged. So there's a little snippet from the editorial. We've got our editorial. Now we need to know who is the editorial page editor. So scroll on down to the bottom of the page and we find the contact link. And then going to the contact link, then we see that the editorial or opinion page editor is a guy named Mike Clark. His phone number's there. There's a link to his email. So we have the name and the contact information for the person we want to reach out to. And we also have the editorial that provides an opportunity to engage with him. So once we know all of that, what would I say? What would a letter look like requesting a meeting? Well, here's an example. Dear Mike, this is Steve Valk with the Jacksonville chapter of Citizens Climate Lobby. Thank you so much for your recent editorial. Florida is ground zero for impacts of sea level rise. By calling attention to this serious threat, you're increasing the political will for Congress to take action on climate change. Speaking of Congress and climate change, there have been some encouraging developments this year. In particular, the emergence and growth of the bipartisan House Climate Solutions Caucus that now has 52 members. 26 Republicans, and 26 Democrats. The hope is that the caucus will eventually draft and introduce legislation to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. We would love to meet with the editorial board to discuss this encouraging development and also the market-based solution that both Republicans and Democrats can support. If it is not possible to meet with the editorial board, could we meet with you? Again, thanks for a great editorial, and I look forward to hearing from you. So there's the letter, and you might wait about 24 hours to see if you get a response. If you don't hear from them, follow up with a phone call, and be prepared to leave a voicemail that's under 30 seconds. That's our media tip for August. If you want more information about meeting with editorial boards, visit the learning page on CCL Community and click the print media link on the left. See you next time.